Hello class, this lecture is going to be on the communication model, which you can find on pages 8 through 12 in our I Speak 2013 edition textbook. Alright, now I have my master's degree in communication theory, and I absolutely love the communication model. So let's see if I can give it a shot and explain it to you guys so that you understand it at least a little bit. Alright, of course, like I said, this is in pages 8 through 12 in our textbook. Feel free to open it up while I give you this little lecture. Page 12 has a picture of it, but I absolutely hate that picture. So I'm going to give it a shot and draw my own. Alright, so the first thing in a communication model is the sender. Let's just say for our current picture, it's going to be a person. It's going to be a stick person with long hair and a big S in their face. Alright, that's our sender. Now, the next person in our communication model is going to be the receiver. Again, a stick person, R in their face, and spiky hair. So let's say there's a girl talking to a boy. Maybe a sister and a brother. Sarah's talking to Ryan. If I can remember that, we'll see. Alright, let's say that Sarah wants to tell her brother something like, Ryan, pick up your toys. Okay, so Sarah sends a message, or those words, pick up your toys, to Ryan. Sarah telling Ryan to pick up his stinking toys. Now, the way that Sarah sent that message is called the channel. How did Sarah tell her brother? Using her words, using verbal communication. So, that message was sent through the channel of words. Excuse me. Alright, so Ryan gets that message, thinks about it for a second. He gives Sarah some feedback. Let's say he says, heck no, you go pick them up. Feedback is heck no. So how did Ryan send that message? What was his channel? Words, right? So the same way he used his words. This is a healthy family. Aren't they so sweet? Alright, during that whole thing though, they're in something. Like there's a reason Sarah's telling her brother to do all this. They're in a situation. Let's say that it is almost bedtime and mom said if they get all of their toys picked up in 5 minutes, they get to watch half an episode of Scooby-Doo. So their situation is they're in the living room, there's all these toys everywhere, and they really want to watch Scooby-Doo. So that's their situation. But you know what? That's not the only thing going on. They have a little brother, a little sister. You know, mom is doing some laundry. Oh, the doorbell's ringing, the phone's ringing. There's all this extra stuff going on, and that's called noise, right? That makes sense. Noise. All those squiggly lines on the side, that's the noise that they have to kind of rule out when they're listening and really focus in on the words that they're saying to each other. We do that without thinking, right? So if my husband's telling me to do some dishes and the dog's barking, I can tune out the dog barking and just focus on Jerry saying, Leah, for the love of God, do some dishes. Not that that ever happens. Alright, so that's all that noise coming in. This whole thing that we have going on right here is called the communication model. This explains what communication is, and actually it can be applied to almost any situation that we can think of. So that is called the communication model. Let's think about it again in a different way. Try and hold it back so everyone can see the whole thing. Alright, let's say that, wrong side. The sender is a student. Let's say her name is Sarah. And she is sending a message to Ms. Ryan, me. Look at my nice spiky hair. Right, she's sending me the message of, Ms. Ryan, I can't find 10 audience members. Am I going to flunk this? Ah! Right? The way that she's sending it, the channel that she's sending that message in is maybe an email. So it's, it's vocal nonverbal communication, but you don't need to worry about that. So Sarah is using to tell Ms. Ryan that she can't find those 10 audience members. That message is being sent through an email, which is the channel. Now the feedback that Ms. Ryan gives Sarah is tough noogie, the assignment is 10 audience members. No, you won't fail your speech, but you'll be docked points. All right, that's the feedback. And that's my channel, again, is probably going to be email. Now, the situation is we are somewhat in a classroom setting, right? Even though this is happening over email, we're still trying to act professional. This is a college class, so we're using titles like Ms. Ryan, full sentences, signing your name at the bottom of your email, that type of thing. At the same time, we've got all this noise going on. All over the place there's noise. So maybe it's, your roommates making toast and burnt it and the alarm's going off and they're yelling at you because there's a fire, right? That'd be noise. That'd be a lot of noise. Maybe I've got all this other stuff that I'm thinking of, all these other students who are emailing me the exact same thing, and I keep typing. I don't care. You need 10 audience members. You're not going to fail, but you will get docked points, right? That whole thing is the communication model. Ta-da! Does that make more sense than what was on what page is it, 12? Yeah, page 12 of our textbook. They say basically the same thing, but it's kind of harder to see. But we got our sender and our receiver giving messages. Now, the whole time that this is going on, lots more stuff is going on if we think about it in a scientific perspective. All right, so we all speak English in this class. Might not be our first language, but we do speak it. So in our brain, we think a thought, and then our brain translates it into English, right? And then our brain has to figure out how to tell our mouth to do it, or maybe our fingers if we're typing, right? I have to be able to send it over here in that language, and then this person over here, the receiver, hears it, maybe translates it into English because their first language is, or whatever whatever that stuff is. They get all the gobbledygook in their brain. They have to figure out what the definitions of the words are that we're saying, and they decode it to understand what the message is. So there's encoding and decoding. The sender encodes it, the receiver decodes it. Should I write that on here? Might be helpful. Encode, decode. It's like how you're decoding a secret message. Right? Alright, now at the same time, the feedback that we get, or that we send, the message that we're sending, it's not just with our words. And it might not just be in the email, the words that we type on the email. We can also have nonverbal communication in there. Nonverbal communication might be something like tone, how you're telling it to me. Is Sarah screaming like a little child at Ryan to pick up his toys? Or is she really happy about it? Hey, Ryan, pick up your toys. Are they happy? Are they sad? Is she crying? Little kids have lots of nonverbals that they give us just through their tone. But also what their face is doing, what their whole body is doing. Maybe in an email, if I get it and it has lots of exclamation points, I can tell you're pretty upset, right? I can understand that tone even just by reading it. That's the nonverbal communication. Verbal communication is the actual words that are coming, whether they're typed or you're actually hearing the words come out of my mouth. So we talked about senders, receiver, messages, channel, feedback, situation, noise, verbal and nonverbal communication. All right, I made a note here. Communication, how one person encodes a message and sends it to another person. Then how that person decodes the message and understands it and then sends their feedback. And it's just a big cycle. It's just a big circle happening back and forth. There's always room for miscommunication, misunderstanding. Sometimes that noise really does interfere and we don't either, the dog's barking right next to our ear, so we think our, Sarah is really telling Ryan to pick up the mac and cheese off the floor, but he hears to eat the mac and cheese off the floor. Huge misunderstanding. Have the dog eat the mac and cheese. Good situation solver. Anyway, so that was the communication model and pages 8 to 12 in our textbook. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, by the way, I'm also going to make a form where I want you guys to come up with some good ideas on situations like not just Sarah and Ryan, but maybe we're standing at different ends of the room and we're screaming at each other. Something like that.